Flensburger Kellerbier.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. Tonight, another one from the Flensburger Brewery, and this is their Kellerbier. Now, I've just tried the C&A Felton's Gravensteiner Helles, and to be honest, that was more like a Kellerbier. It was an unfiltered Helles, but it had all the characteristics of a Kellerbier. And I thought, you know what, I've got a taste for Kellerbier now, so I thought I'd crack this one open. This was brought over from Germany by a mate of mine called Norby, and this is from the Flensburger Brewery, who are one of the best breweries in northern Germany, in my opinion. They're from the Schleswig-Holstein region, so if you can imagine Germany, where it borders Denmark, they're the next sort of area down from Denmark, so they are the northernmost region of that part of Germany, and they do make a big thing about their coastal origins. If you look at the label, you can see that there's a ship on there, and when it comes to the beer, they make a big thing about their coastal barley, which is basically a barley that is grown in a maritime climate or environment, if you like. It's over in the UK. That's not a unique thing, because we're in Ireland and we're only 70 miles anywhere at any point in the UK from the coast. No further, I should say, than 70 miles. So we do live in a maritime climate and environment. However, in Germany, that is a bit of a rarity because they've got quite a short coastal line and it borders the North Sea and the Baltic Sea. I think, am I right in saying that? It's definitely the Baltic Sea. Yeah, I think the North Sea as well. And this region has a North Sea coast on it, but they do make a big thing about their coastal barley. In fact, they've trademarked it. Would you believe? Yeah, that's what the Germans do. We take it for granted, but in Germany, it's a funny thing. I'll get onto the malt that's used in this, or the barley that's used in this, in the next section, because there is a little bit of a twist on it. But yeah, that's what all their beer is made with, and I have to say, every beer I've had from this brewery, I've not been disappointed. They've all been nearly 10 out of 10s or 9 out of 10s. The only one that slightly let me down was the Flensburger Gold, but I do remember Flensburger Pilsner being the first one that I tried from this brewery, and it was, you know what, it was a lovely change from all the Bavarian stuff that I was drinking at the time, and this was in the space. I'm saying all the stuff at the time. I'm talking about one night I was in a place in South London called the Captain Yammer, which is a German bar. They do fantastic German beer in there, and it's a very good selection. But it is fucking expensive, I'll tell you that. And I was drinking Weiss beer, and I thought, you know what, I fancy a change from Weiss beer. And this was a 330ml bottle, and I thought, I don't want to have another pint. Let's just calm it down for a little bit. And I got a bottle of Flensburg Pilsner, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And I thought, I am going to check this beer out in the future. And then when a German bar opened up just across literally 2 minutes walk from where I worked, called Hermann's in German, and they had some fantastic beers in there. And of course, Flensburger Pilsner was one that they had, so that got caned on some nights when I'd had stressful days at work. But yeah, all good from Flensburger. They're a great brewery, as I say. They're based in the Schleswig-Holstein region of Germany. I'm not going to go too much into the history of there because I've done it in all the videos that I've done previously on this brewery. So let's just shifty on to the next section and see what's going on. Right, let's break this down. This is a 330ml bottle. It's 4.8%. It is a Kellerbier. If you're not sure what a Kellerbier is, it's basically an unfiltered beer. which is actually traditional German beer. That's how it was sold back in the day. When I say back in the day, I'm talking at the turn of the century, maybe up until the Second World War. But this particular one from the Flensburger Brewery only came out in 2007, so they were quite late to the Kellerbier party, but I can imagine that this is going to be a good one. There's no brew sheet, unfortunately. However, they do say, and I did say I would mention this, the coastal malt that they brag about, and they've actually trademarked as well. As I say, it's grown in a maritime climate, maritime environment. They've also blended that with Franconian malt as well. So you're not going to go wrong with that, because Franconian malt, of course, comes from Bavaria, and Franconia is, of course, beer heaven in Germany. It's got the largest concentration of breweries in the world. As far as I know, there's 250 plus breweries just in that region of Germany alone. Can you imagine that? That just wouldn't happen in England. The costs in this country just would forbid that, and that fucking boils my piss. Do you know what? I'm going to go into a little rant here. The more I look at what we get served up in this country, not just in terms of beer, but in terms of food, we really are getting fucking shafted by everyone. We're just gullible mugs from everything. Everything's overpriced. Oh, fuck, no, I'm not going to rant. No, let's not. It's a fucking summer's day out there. The weather's nice. I don't like the sun though. Fuck me, I'm a miserable bastard. You wouldn't believe West Ham are fucking champions of Europe, would you? I'm still fucking moaning. Some people are never happy. Right, let's fucking cut that dead and let's get on to the next section. Oh, that was a depressing rabbit hole I was just about to go down. Let's get this open. And that is disappointing. They make a big thing about the plop, and there was no plop there. Plop, of course, has other connotations in the English language, which I'm not going to go into here. Oh, look at this. This is interesting. This is quite a dark Kellerbier. Wow, that is dark for a Kellerbier. And do you know what? It's not as cloudy as the Helles I've just tried. Look at that. That's a fucking amber colour. What the fuck, Flensburger? What are you doing, you fucking anarchists? There it is in the glass. It looks nice, I have to say. It is cloudy. Yes, it is. I can't see through that. The head is... It's a sort of a one finger white foamy head. Yeah, and it kind of smells like the Gravensteiner Helles that I've just tried. There's some distinct malty notes coming through there. Normally I get the in good Kellerbiers I normally get a little sour note, and I did get that in the Gravensteiner Helles. Not getting it on here, on the Aroma, unfortunately. It's all about the malt. Interesting. Okay, so no real hop character, but plenty of malt, and that malt is... It's not that toasted, dark toasted white bread that I sort of got from the Gravensteiner. I know that's a Helles, and you might ask, why am I comparing the Gravensteiner Helles to this? But it really did put me in mind of a Kellerbier. It had the cloudiness, it had the slightly sour note, and I do question why they called it a Helles. Would have been more apt calling it a Kellerbier. But this is a dark Kellerbier. I can't get over that colour. Kellerbier is normally lighter than that. But I digress. Anyway, proof, as I always say, is in the tasting. So let's get it down my fat Gregory Peck. Zum Wohl, as they say in Germany. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, that is gorgeous. Wow. Are my taste buds deceiving me, or is there slight diet? I don't know whether there is, but I'm getting a little hint of diacetyl in it. That's unusual. I've never had that in a German beer, but it complements it really nicely, which is unusual because diacetyl, especially in bottom fermented beers, is a bit of a no-no. You do get diacetyl in Czech pilsners. It's a characteristic of it, but I'm getting it in here, and it's unnerving me a bit. There's a lovely bready, almost biscuity type malt finish on that, and it's really rich and full-bodied. There's a bitterness to it as well, a noble hop bitterness that's coming through on there. Quite spicy, quite a lot of the black pepper spice. Although I can't really discern any sour notes in there, which is, I wouldn't say it's unusual, but in most of the good Kellerbiers you do get and it's subtle. I mean, don't let me try and put you off Kellerbier, because I imagine you would like Kellerbier, but I tend to get a slightly sour note, and I imagine that's coming from the yeast, but I'm not really getting that on here, which is unusual. It's nice, but the body isn't as big as on some of the other Kellerbiers that I've tried. Don't get me wrong, it's still nice though. I love that malty finish on it. That is big, and it lingers, and it's quite nice. There's the sour note. It's there, but it's really subtle. You have to take a few mouthfuls for it to stand out. The body on it though, that's what's slightly unnerving me in that, because it looks clearer than, I mean, Kellerbiers you can't see through. Some of them look like Weissens. That's how cloudy they are. This, even though it is cloudy, I can kind of see through it. It is nice though, I have to say. The mouthfeel's good. No abrasive carbonation. Well, again, that sour note, that's popping through now. And it is quite pronounced now. Once you get a few mouthfuls down, you can detect that. But the only thing that's lacking on that is the body. That's Percy, he wants to get out. Excuse me. This room, I will say, this room is really warm. No wonder he wanted to get out. And it's got the sun beating down on it all day. This is a south-facing room, so the sun is on it all day, and it is getting quite warm in here now. But dive in one more time. It's nice. Quite a lot of that bready, biscuity type malt, and the spicy, I wouldn't say too much herbal notes. It's more about the spice that's on there. There are some slight herbal notes, that's there as well. The slightly sour ester, that is coming through on there too. But the body for me, it's not as big as some of the other beers, Kellerbiers that I've tried, and that's slightly disappointing, because if there's any beer that should be very full bodied, it's a Kellerbier, because it's not been filtered, and you tend to find that they really are full bodied. But this one is, I don't know, it's slightly weaker. But I'm just looking through it, I can see my hand through it, and in most good Kellerbiers you can't do that. So maybe they've just gone a little bit over the top on the filtering. There must be either too much filtering on this to be a Kellerbier. In fact, if you said to me, if you compared it with the Grevensteiner Helles, I would have said that's the Kellerbier and this is the Helles, but obviously I would be wrong. So what do I know? But it's not bad. I'm probably being a little overcritical on this. I'm probably, I'm expecting everything from a beer, and sometimes you just don't get that. And the only thing that's lacking on this is the body. It's reasonably full body. Don't get me wrong, it's not watery at all. But just compared to other Kellerbiers that I've tried, and certainly the Helles that I've just tried, it's just lacking slightly. But aside from that, it's not bad at all. So, what is the verdict on Flensburger Kellerbier? Yeah, this is another good one from Flensburger. I do like what this brewery do. I've never seen or never had a bad one from them. It's only slightly disappointing, as I mentioned, that the body is slightly thinner than most Kellerbiers that I've tried, but the flavour's there. I mean, you've got everything you'd expect from a Kellerbier. I thought the sour note wasn't there, and it was just about the malt and the spicy hop notes on there, but that did come through after a few mouthfuls. And again, it's subtle, and sometimes when it's that subtle, you don't normally get it on the first mouthful. The stuff, for me, the best Kellerbier I've tried is the Hacker-Pschorr Kellerbier, which is a brewery, if you don't know, is a brewery that's based in Munich. That's got everything. It's got a full-bodied, huge malty finish on there, some slight spicy notes from the hops, and that lovely sour note that's going through it. This has got all them, but it just hasn't got the full body of the Hacker-Pschorr, so it's not going to be up there with the absolute best, but it's still a good Kellerbier, don't get me wrong, and there are some good ones out there, believe me. But this one, I think it's just slightly lacking. And the reason I've been so harsh on this is because all the beers from this brewery are good. But I think with the Kellerbier, and this has only been going since 2007, so I don't know, maybe it's just me being overcritical, but I would have just preferred a little bit more of a full body on this. And if it did have the full body on it, then yeah, that would have been up there with some of the best, but it's just not there. But it's still good, so I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. Definitely going to recommend it. These beers average online if you can find them, and I think you can find the Kellerbier that is online I see it quite often online, certainly from Beers of Europe, and I think the House of Trembling Madness do it as well. You can pick these up for normally about £2.50, £2.60. Now that's up to you whether you want to pay that much for a Kellerbier, for this Kellerbier I should say. If you're going to spend that sort of money, then I would say give that a swerve and go for the Hacker-Pschorr stuff. That's probably about the best you're going to get when it comes to Kellerbier so far anyway. I mean, I'm always hoping to be proved wrong and find a better beer that I've been ranting and raving about. So yeah, I'm open. Well, speaking of opening, there's Percy. Well, I'll tell you what, let's give Percy a little mention. Come on, come up here, mate. What's going on, son? Eh? This weather is killing him, isn't it, mate? What do you think of this? This is... Get out of it. You know, his tongue straight away, he hasn't even fucking smelt it and his tongue's out. Get out of it. Don't give beer to dogs, it's not good for them. I know I joke, but I never feed them beer because they don't get on with the hops. He's fucked in this weather, isn't you, mate? Look, he's like a half-hearted Hitler. Half-hearted Hitler. He's like Larry Grayson if he was a Nazi. Anyway, I'm going to put you down here, mate, because you're fucking heavy and you're hot. But this, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10. If you're going to buy it, then I would say maybe see if there's any better ones out there. Hacker-Pschorr for starters, but yeah, if there's nothing else, then yeah, this is a good option. But the body is just knocking them points off for me. So there you go. And remember, beer is working class champagne.